They got poor people?
Yeah, it's in there.
Okay,
It should be.
I got it.
Yeah, there it is. Welcome, everyone. We're going to get started in just a moment. For those who are participating, if you would go ahead and come on over here for this news conference supporting Brother Dante Sharp and all those who have been abused by the criminal justice system in North Carolina. We ask everyone who's going to be with us, we'd love for you to come join and stand around and help hold these signs on either side. And we'll get started in just a moment.
Okay, I'm gonna have to take this. It's I think Dennis. Dennis. Tell them bring one sign on one side and one side on the other.
One here and one there.
Just don't block this leg. Come here a little bit closer, y'all. Come right there. Stand right on that front, on the front. Now stretch it out. There we go.
Maybe one more over here to even us out.
That's right. Step right there. There you go. There you go.
1 second.
I always say Dante make me look like a shrimp. I ain't never heard that one before.
Cool. I want him always next to me.
That's right.
I always did. Particularly at the beach.
Okay. Okay.
Who's introducing these?
Caitlin's not here in the next few minutes. We'll have to go to you after this. You introduce Dante.
Here she is. Here she is.
Okay, so let's stick with the first one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Pretty good. It's called just-in-time management.
Hey Dante, I'm sitting down so I won't block you because I'm so tall.
Oh yeah.
You know, you kind of short. Yeah.
You know, Dante Sharp was pulling guard.
Oh yeah.
He done pull.
That's right. I done pull. And a defensive nose guard.
18.
18.
Hey, beloved
18.
people. Hey, Reverend Barbara.
Hey.
Do you have any sheets of paper for me?
What's up, guys?
Good. You ready?
Got a few pieces of paper for people. This is the full letter.
Oh, I'm good. You're
You got
okay.
that?
Yeah.
Sure? Yeah, I'm going to take your reference.
Hey Anna. Hey Linda.
Hey.
Oh Linda.
And Jamie is just right around
Look
the
young
corner.
as you did last time.
Good morning. So, okay morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. We're here today to celebrate some recent exonerations, but to lift up the case of our brother and justice warrior Dante Sharp, who's been fighting for his freedom and justice for over 26 years, who was exonerated, and now we are here today to push for the full pardon and some reform of the system. My name is Reverend Rob Stevens. I'm the National Political Director for Repairers of the Breach. And today I have the honor of introducing our speakers. We'll have a few speakers, and then we will deliver a letter to a representative of Governor Cooper's here in the state capitol. Our opening speaker will be Dennis Gaddy with Second Chances Alliance, and also on the board of the North Carolina NAACP.
Good morning. Good morning. Dennis Gaddy is my name, and I currently serve as the Executive Director of Community Success Initiative, a nonprofit here in Raleigh, working with men and women who find themselves entangled in the criminal justice system. And I also serve as the Criminal Justice Chair for the NAACP. Thank you. Throughout our history, the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, NAACP, has taken an unwavering stand in favor of the constitutional and moral presumption of innocence. We know that in our nation's history and in this state's history, the criminal justice system we entrust with our safety has at times failed to convict the guilty and instead ensnared the innocent.
That's right.
This miscarriage of justice in our name must end now.
Woo!
The North Carolina NAACP and the Second Chance Alliance believes fundamentally in the sanctity of the Constitution, our system of laws, and in allowing the judicial system to proceed in pursuit of the truth and justice. Today we join this coalition of advocates to call for the immediate full pardon of innocence for Dontae Sharpe.
That's right.
That's right. Woo!
Dante Sharp, at the hands of the state, wrongfully spent more years in prison than in freedom. Hear me, Governor. Dontae Sharpe, at the hands of the state, wrongfully spent more years in prison than in freedom.
Shame.
26 years is an eternity.
That's right.
Since the age of 19, he's been denied the ability to hold his baby, to raise his child, to attend the funeral services of his loved ones, to support his loving mother, to make a living and pursue his education, to contribute to his community and grow older with his brothers. With us today is Brother Ronnie Long, who received his pardon from this governor after more than 40 years of incarceration. That is a sin.
That's right. That's right. 40 years.
If we cannot admit to ourselves that the criminal justice system can get it wrong, that we are not infallible, that there are those who at times in Greenville and in every city in these United States have not done their duty with the highest level of integrity, then we are in a collective state of denial that is our duty to wake up from.
Yes,
That's
yes.
right.
Today we will deliver a letter to Governor Cooper asking for him to not only take action to grant this pardon, but to sit down and meet with the people most directly impacted by this injustice, to receive our recommendations, to listen to the harm and to commit to transformative change. We will not only advance justice if we're not silent, if we stand up with dignity, even when it is uncomfortable. The journey for justice is long, but we will prevail.
That's right.
What we have here is a travesty of justice.
That's right.
That's
That's
right.
right. That's right.
Other words, unfair, unjust, immoral, and just plain wrong.
That's
That's
right.
right.
26 years for something that he did not do. Still doing time, if you ask me.
That's right.
Yes.
Still doing time.
Still doing time.
Pardon Dante Sharpe. Free Dante Sharpe.
Free Dante.
Pardon Dante Sharpe.
Pardon.
Free Dante Sharpe.
Free Dante Sharpe.
Pardon Dante Sharpe. Free Dante Sharpe.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes.
Thank you, Brother Gaddy. At this time, we're going to bring up one of our lawyer warriors, Attorney Caitlin Swain, who is the co-director of Forward Justice. Please give it up for Forward Justice and their work.
Good morning, North Carolina.
Good morning.
This is a season for justice. My name is Caitlin Swain, and I am the proud co-director of Forward Justice. And I'm a proud friend and supporter of Dante Sharpe, who I have known for more than 10 years. This man deserves a pardon of innocence today. He has deserved it for some time. I come to you today representing an organization that is proud to stand with the formerly incarcerated and convicted peoples and families movement, calling for transformative criminal justice change, proud to stand for with the Poor People's Campaign, calling for transformative change, proud to stand with the North Carolina NAACP, calling for transformative change in this state and in this nation. I need to pause because we have been here before.
Too many times.
We have been here before too many times. But we have started to see change. This governor has started to take action. He did what was right, late but right, for Ronnie Long. He did what was right, late but what was right for Charles Ray Finch and others. He must do what is right for Dontae Sharpe.
That's right.
I'm going to just read a little bit of the letter that we will be delivering today. Dear Governor Cooper, in the season of Juneteenth and the 4th of July, honoring a spirit of freedom, renewal, and truth, we come to you to renew a nationwide call on your office to do justice for Dante Sharpe, a North Carolinian who spent 26 years, over half of his life, imprisoned unjustly by this state, and who, since his court determined exoneration on August 22nd, 2019, has dedicated himself to living each day of his newly gained freedom with integrity and service. At Forward Justice, we have been so proud to have Dante Sharpe join us as a RISE Fellow, working every day to try to transform the criminal justice system that got it so wrong in his case. He still believes in what is possible with this criminal justice system, in spite of what it's taken from him and his family. We must believe in its possibility as well. And we cannot do it just with words. It is time for deeds.
That's right.
I will close here so that you can hear from Dante Sharpe yourself, a man who has transformed my life, changed the direction of the course of all of North Carolinian work in criminal justice just over the last year and a half while he has been free. Dante, please come up and join me.
Yes, sir. Thank you. That's right.
Good afternoon, everybody. I ain't gonna take too long. Everybody done said everything that I wanted to say. But first off, I want to begin by thanking everybody that supported me throughout those hard years, being locked up for something I didn't do with a life sentence. All these people behind me and a lot of other people that aren't here, they supported me, through the ups and downs and the headaches and heartaches and pains. And I would not be here if it wasn't for these people and a lot of people that weren't able to make it. But also, I want to thank Mr. Roy Cooper for pardoning all those guys that he pardoned. Ronnie Long, Darrell, Mr. Finch, and all them. I was glad when I seen it, but also stirred me up to want mine, because we all did what we were supposed to do. We went through the system the way they got the system set up. You got to file all the motions and appeals and go up and down in the court system until you get exonerated. And when you get exonerated, you're supposed to be able to get pardoned. There's some actual other states that have automatic pardons after you get exonerated. Right. North Carolina's not one of them. And we need to change that. That's what I'm going to start working on too with Forward Justice. I want to just say that this pardon, I'm not begging for it. I'm not pleading for it. I'm just here to put Mr. Cooper, this whole system, North Carolina, on notice that I'm going to keep right on talking. I'm going to keep right on doing what I'm doing, because there's more guys left that I left in there behind me, that me and Ronnie Long left in there behind us, that's innocent. And I know this for a fact because I've seen evidence of guys when I was in there.
Yes.
And I'm going to keep using my voice to fight for them guys. They still call me and contact me. I try to support them. I send them money and things like that. But there's still so many people left in there. And Mr. Cooper, if you can find in your heart, man to man, face to face here today, to pardon me, fine. But if not, I'm going to keep right on doing what I'm doing. I'm going to keep right on living. And by the grace of God and the help of people around me, good people like behind me, and y'all good people, I'm going to make it. Me and Ronnie going to make it, and the rest of the guys are going to make it. So I thank y'all for coming out. And I thank all these people behind me. They're blessed. They're my heroes. And I love them. And y'all have a good day.
I'm introducing myself. I'm, I guess, one of those legal warriors that was introduced earlier. My name is Teresa Newman. I'm with others at the Duke Wrongful Convictions Clinic, had the great honor and privilege of representing Dante for about 10 years, all the way back when Caitlin Swain was our student and was assigned to Dante's case. And she, unlike students who graduate and go off to live their lives, Caitlin never left. She stayed on the team for all those 10 years. I want to focus not on the legal ins and outs of Dante's case that led to his exoneration August of 2019, but I really want to focus on the man, Dante, I got to know over those 10 years. One thing he said is, I'm not pleading and begging for pardon. I am here to tell you Dante has never pleaded or begged for any relief for anything related to his wrongful conviction. One of the most vivid memories I have of representing him when we met him at Johnston Correctional, he described to us why he was, and this is one legal in and out, why he was turning down, while he was still incarcerated, the last of multiple plea offers that the prosecutors made to have him admit to something, anything, and then reduce his sentence so he could walk out the door. Dante told, and I believe it was Caitlin there, Dante told us, I will not, I haven't, and I won't, even in this like 22nd year of incarceration. I will not admit to anything I didn't do. He said, it was too easy for them to convict me, and I do not want to make it easy for them to release me. He told us that his goal was to walk out the front door. He said if a hurricane came through, that's right. And I want to see this graphically depicted sometime. But if a hurricane came through and knocked down all of the fences and the walls at Johnston Correctional, where he was incarcerated at the time, everyone, he believed, would flee, including the correctional officers. But there would be one man sitting in a chair in the middle of that prison, and that man would be Dante Sharpe, because he said, it is my goal to be released on innocence. And in fact, that is what happened 2 summers ago in August of 2019. After up and down, that someone described the ups and downs of the court system, my goodness, it was Ronnie Long and Dante Sharpe. They could have a close competition for how many times their cases were brought before different judges. It's shameful. But finally, in August 2019, on another extremely hot day, Dante walked out the front door of the courthouse to freedom. Yes. And on this hot day, when I first arrived here, I was whining to some of the camera crew about how hot it was. Could we move into the shade, I was saying. And then as Dante was talking, I was reflecting on the fact that get a grip, girl, get a grip, because 26 very hot summers Dante spent in basically concrete jungles, right? Inside prisons that are concrete and so hot. So I'm not going to complain, maybe sometime, but no more today. I'm not going to complain, and I just want to get back. I know Dante, and more importantly, I and the rest of the legal team know his case inside and out, every nuance, every turn. This is an innocent man. There is no impediment that I can think of, no correct, appropriate impediment to granting him a full pardon of innocence, and doing it soon. Indeed, Caitlin said earlier that Ronnie and Darrell and Charles Ray Finch were all granted pardons. Hooray, but so late, right? After wrangling with the system. So now, let's not make it any later than it already is. Let's call for an immediate pardon for Dante so he can walk forward in the sunlight, into air conditioning, fully in the knowledge that he has been pardoned and declared officially innocent. Thank you.
And now we'll hear from Reverend Dr. William J. Barber II, President of Repairers of the Breach and co-chair of the Poor People's Campaign, a national call for moral revival.
To all North Carolinians and people around the world, you're looking at a man, a real man, a man who had integrity when the system did not have integrity. A man that said, I will not bow and take a plea for something I didn't do. He represents the great tradition of men and black men who've had to walk with their back straight even when the system was trying to break them and bend them. I'm hot today, but it's not because of the heat. It's a righteous anger. I'm sick of this. The Bible I read calls it sin and injustice. And the Bible tells us we are supposed to have a non-compromising attitude when it comes to social and political sin. Personal sin, we got some grace and forgiveness. But when the system breaks people and does it openly, not even through thief, straight up robbery. You know, the difference between a robber and a thief, a robber hits you in your head when you're looking at him. And when the system does this stuff openly, that's robbery. And my text tells me we cannot have a compromise with that. We must have a divine, a constant discontent. This is the anniversary of the 14th Amendment, signed in 1868. I want the media to grab that. This is the anniversary of the 14th. How many years is that? Good mathematician. 14th Amendment, 1868. 150 years would have been 2018, right? 153 years. This country said, and that was the amendment that saved the Constitution, because it said equal protection under law. This man, my brother, has been denied his 14th Amendment right. That's right. It was denied the day that the system, racist police misconduct, did this to him. And I want to speak to a moment, because we got all kinds of people, governors, legislators, they can't wait to get to the mic to say how supportive they are of what happened to the killer of George Floyd, and talk about they are concerned about Black Lives Matter. And I don't doubt that to some degree. But police killing is not the only way this system is killing black folk and poor folk. Now, yes, George Floyd was murdered, 9 minutes and some seconds, strangled to death by knee. But I got a question I want the media to help me raise. What about when the same forces bury a man alive? You know, we put George Floyd under the ground. What about when you bury a man alive? Huh? What about when you kill him? You kill his life. You kill his dreams. And you think you have killed any possibility of him ever being able to rise up again. What about when you murder him through false incarceration and cover up and misconduct of the DA, and you don't even have a damn funeral, you celebrate it? We got one, and we put him away, and you lie. And then the system, because people come around to say, no, this will not be a wrongful incarceration, we're going to see a resurrection. And they fight and they prove that it was wrong. The system was wrong. They killed Dontae while he was alive. They buried this man alive. You're looking at a miracle. There was never an intention for him to be standing here today.
No, sir.
He was supposed to die behind those bars. Then God moved through God's people. And you want to know how long his funeral was? 26 years, 9,490 days, 760 hours, 13,665,600 minutes. 13 million and some odd more minutes than that knee was on the neck of George Floyd. And you think people can say they support Black Lives Matter and all they're concerned about is that and not concerned about this? No, Governor, no. And we've got to challenge this kind of killing. We got to challenge it. We've got work to do, because when you try to do this and you do this and you kill a person's dream, most of the folk never come back. That's what Dante is saying, why he can't just be concerned about himself. He understands that he's out not just for himself. We need automatic pardons. When you're exonerated and the system says it's wrong, there ought to be automatic pardon.
That's right.
Because sadly, Dante is not an anomaly. We've seen there's 6 black men that we know of right now that have also been exonerated, and they haven't been pardoned. Think about that. What if that was 6 wealthy people connected to wealthy families in this state? What if that was a governor's son or a legislator's son? Or the Republican leaders of the House son? And for Dante's murder, or attempted murder, no police person will ever be held accountable.
Shame.
No DA will ever go to jail for wrongly putting him in jail. The only way the system can show repentance is to pardon him now.
That's right. That's right.
That's it.
He can't bring them to trial.
Yes.
They ought to go to jail for what they did to him and have done to others. Now, lastly, he's been exonerated for 2 years, and we keep being told we got to keep reviewing. How much longer do you have to review what a judge has already said is true? We're glad to see the governor pardon the people he had, but Governor, we also want to say you can't deal with this kind of injustice a drop at the time. You almost got to be Machiavellian. You just got to go in and clean it up.
Clean it up. Clean it up.
So we need him pardoned now. No more reviews. That's been done. The lies have been proved to be lies. He suffered enough. Nobody should have to suffer like this, and then you be proven that you were right and you get out and they still keep you in prison.
That's right.
Still hold it over here. You know, for the media, hopefully you'll tell this story. This is what they did to Dante. 26 years, they buried him for 26 years, intended to kill him. Then when they got caught, they opened the door and said, you can go, but all you get to take with you is what you brought in here.
Yep.
That's it.
That's it.
If he had 25 cents in his pocket, that's all he got to carry with him. If he had a pair of pants, that's all he got. That's all he got. And it's been 2 years. It's been 2 years. Pardon him now. Change the system.
Definitely.
We're going to deliver these signatures. Shouldn't take all of this. The judge's signature ought to be enough. The DA, that ought to be enough. Because they're elected by the people, so that ought to be enough. We got to do all this. All this. For right? My God, America. My God, North Carolina. Caitlin, Al, I made a decision after standing here with Dante right now. I wasn't going to say this. I'm not going to another meeting to discuss pardons. I only want to go to the meeting when the people get pardoned.
Yes, sir.
Tired of going to meetings. It's time to protest and do everything else we can. Now, some of y'all got to go to the meeting, but don't call me for another doggone meeting to discuss how you got to wait when the judge and the DA and the system has already said, we lied. And not only did they lie, they let the killer walk around in Greenville while they were trying to kill this man through the murder of false incarceration. Dante, I gave you a red stole when you were incarcerated. I went in and washed your feet, and I gave you a red stole.
Sir, you did.
Yeah.
And said I wasn't going, you could have it, and I didn't want to see it till you came out. I said it represented the blood, and in the real sense, the innocence. Today, I'm going to give you this bishop stole. It's a purple stole. It is the sign of commitment, because see what they did to Jesus, they put a purple cloth on him when he was crucified innocently. And the purple represented both his commitment, but it also represented that he was a king. You are royalty among us, because if you had broken and God hadn't kept you from breaking, we wouldn't be here today to expose the system and fight for the furtherance of the deliverance of others. I ain't trying to ordain you, I ain't trying to make you no preacher. I'm just saying, bring this back to me when you get your pardon. Governor, don't let it be too long, because until we get this back, we intend to fight with everything we can, now and in the election season. This will not go away. Do it now. Free the rest of the people. And let's have a meeting around the pardon table, and not a meeting around the discussing the pardon table. Media, we'll take questions.
Thank you, Bishop Barber. This time we are about to prepare to go deliver then we'll take questions if you have them. I just want to make sure you see to my left and right, if y'all could hold those out. These are the names of people who have signed this, the petition, and if you could, that have signed the petition to support Brother Dante's pardon, in addition to over 17,000 people who have signed petitions and pieces of actions to support this effort that we're culminating with today. Are there any questions from the meeting before we go in? I'm only taking questions from media that's in the sun, though. No.
What about the pardon? What would change, and what exactly does that mean? He's been exonerated, but what if he pardoned?
Let me get. Oh.
Go ahead.
We're fighting to answer the question, so I'll just answer very quickly. My colleague Jamie Lau will probably amend what I say. The pardon of innocence is one, and maybe this is what Dante was going to say, a formal recognition from the state that an error was made. And it is something that previous clients of ours have sort of held above in their hearts and minds, above their exonerations. These pardons, and one in particular under Governor McCrory, one of our clients, Lamont Armstrong, met with Governor McCrory, was interviewed by him, and then received a call, I think on Christmas Eve or December 23rd, from Governor McCrory himself announcing that he was granting the pardon. That was a tremendous heart, lift to our client. It also has real practical consequences. It opens the door to a person who receives a pardon of innocence can then apply to the State Industrial Commission for monetary compensation. $50,000 a year of wrongful incarceration with a cap of $750,000. So Ronnie and Dante, of course, their years far exceeded that cap, but that is so that of practical consequences, you can then use that money to perhaps pay rent, buy food, maybe even buy a little house for yourself. But so it has both emotional significance and philosophical significance and practical significance.
The last one, the state says we are wrong. This exoneration is not just a political decision locally, because the case against him wasn't the case of one person. It was the state versus Dontae Sharpe. So the state has to say, formally, we're wrong. Clear his slate. Clear it. Then technically, when you are put in the prison system, you are made to work for the state. And when the system puts you in there for 26 years, we're going to get an economist to do the calculation. What would have been his economic worth? What would have been his economic income if, in fact, he had been allowed at 19 to go to college, to get a degree? See, all that was stolen, all that. So the state has engaged in theft and open robbery by members of the state with the power of the state using their office to frame somebody. And the state cannot, the 750 is too low if you tell the truth, when you murder somebody while they're still alive. But the point of the matter is the state has to do something. Start just saying, oops, bye, and all you get to take is what you brought in here. That's how people end up committing suicide. That's how people end up lives being destroyed. If this community of people hadn't come around Dante, he wouldn't even have an income. My God. But he didn't do anything. He didn't do anything. The state has to do what it must do to correct its own injustice. And if the state doesn't correct injustice, then the state has no moral credibility to even incarcerate people for their injustices.
I'd like to add, and I hate to follow Reverend Barber, but I want to add one thing. When one of another client was exonerated and received a pardon of innocence, but even before the pardon, he came with me to my workplace, and one of our colleagues came out into the hall and said, please forgive me. I am so sorry this happened to you. And that client said, what do you mean, please forgive you? You had nothing to do with it. And she said, look back at every filing that's made in your case. It says State of North Carolina versus Dontae Sharpe, for example. Right. And she said, we are the state. We are all the state, and we should apologize. So the governor has the power and authority, and I believe obligation, to act for us and say, we erred. An error was made. Forgive us.
Which means the media ought not let this case go just like you didn't let George Floyd go. Because they did this in your name. In fact, y'all ought to sign the petition too, but I know you got to be objective. But to technically, every media person here, they did this to him in your name, in your mama's name, in your daddy's name, in your children's name. Don't let this case go. Don't let it just fly away. We spent all this time on George Floyd, and should have. But if you're going to spend time on when somebody gets killed and buried, you ought to spend time also when somebody's murdered alive and forced to live with it. And that's in essence what the system did to this man. And yet God has worked the resurrection. And he's here today. For not only for himself, but for others. Quick question, we got to move. Yes, ma'am.
So this year there's a bill that was trying to make it easier for people.
Well, I seen that Maxine Water.
You talking about the Maxine Water bill? Well, that's a federal bill, and those bills are important. It's one of the ways we need to reform the system, but North Carolina needs to do it, too. North Carolina needs to make it automatic. There's states that have already done it. So yes, federally it should be done, but this state right here, remember, you got 6 more that have already been exonerated, not waiting to be exonerated. We know of at least 6 more right now. Be a great story for the media that have already been exonerated. What's the holdup? The judge has said that the DA, what's the holdup? Why you got to keep reviewing it? It ought to be automatic.
And Reverend Bart, and on this point, there is a bill that has been proposed, 877. I'm just going to ask my colleague, Jamie Lau from the Wrongful Convictions Clinic, one of Dante Sharpe's attorneys, to come up to speak to that very briefly so the media is aware of it.
And last, before you come, tell the story too about these lawyers. If it wasn't for Duke Innocent Project and these lawyers that take these cases pro bono, that's the other thing. A lot of these folk don't have any money. They don't have deep pockets. If it wasn't for these law centers that do this stuff and take these cases pro bono, people would still be in jail today and would die there who should have never been put there. That ought to trouble every one of us. Because a threat to anybody else's life is a threat to all of our lives.
So House Bill 877, which was introduced this session, would provide an opportunity for the judge at the time they vacate this conviction, or the individual whose conviction is vacated, once it's exonerated, to have a judge sign an order or enter an order that no reasonable juror on the basis of the evidence today would convict the individual, triggering the opportunity for compensation immediately upon that order being entered. And it's so critically important because what I want to say about the pardons of innocence that we've spoken about today that have been issued is those pardons of innocence for every single individual but for Ronnie Long have come years after their exoneration. So the individuals who were exonerated after all those years were relying on the goodwill of family and friends to help them survive when the state owed them so much. So the terms of House Bill 877 need to be included in pending legislation, need to be passed this legislative session, and should be signed into law to provide financial security to exonerees upon the time that they are released, so they don't have to strain relationships with family and friends, begging for their support to keep them afloat until we can come out here and protest and rally and do these extraordinary measures that are necessary to get the governor to act and restore the humanity and the security to these people who they've taken so much from.
Let me say this final thing, Rob. We also got to make sure we challenge the politics, because, you know, political people get in office. If I pardon them, then the other side's going to hit me for being soft on crime. That's crap, because you're talking about people that have been exonerated. Lastly, I just want to speak to this issue of 750, because I want us to make clear what we're saying. If you think about that, that's only 50,000 for 15 years. So you've had people that have stayed in jail 26 years, 31 years. So basically the system is set up to say, we only going, you know, if you stay in jail 15 years, you're either out or dead. It's really nonsense if you think about it. That's why this stuff has to be changed, y'all. And that's why we cannot continue to play these political games with people and worry about what the polls say and all of that. Tell the truth and pardon the people. Change the law. Fix the bill. Because you're talking about innocence. And if we're not ready to do right by innocent folk when the system is guilty, then God help us. But if everybody that ever swears on the Constitution is lying, if they will let the system get away with murder and support the system more than they will the people that the system hurt.
All right. Thank you, everyone. We say Dante Sharp free.
Dante Sharp free.
Dante Sharp free.
Dante Sharp free.
We're about to do that right now. We're going to go deliver the signatures to a representative of Governor Cooper's office around the corner here. So we will follow, if y'all could come over here and follow behind with those signatures, and then Dante and the lawyers, if y'all would get with Reverend Barbers, we walk over there to deliver it.
Come on, y'all, let's go. When we get on the sidewalk, go to 2 by 2.
Which way are we going? Side. Is the side door here or side door? Which side door? Right or left?
Right.
All right.
That's what I thought. This way.
Rev, I'm gonna let you bring the car around the other side. When we get ready. Put Caitlin in there.
Delivering petitions here?
You know we went.
When we gonna stop delivering petitions?
That's right.
When they gonna go
Just
fix
gonna
it?
do the
Yeah,
part.
yeah. I mean,
That's right.
Deliver them every day. Until they sit.
Just keep on going towards the...
Y'all can come too, but I want one at least. I just told the media we don't just want to hand this off to black staff. Got 6 black folk that have been pardoned. We don't want to hand it off just to black staff. We want black and white Latino. Do I have it out there? Lumbee? Well, we need somebody white. We want to make sure this is all in North Carolina. We're tired of this being just a black thing. Everybody gets exonerated, doesn't get pardoned black. We wanted the governor, he wasn't here, but he'll get it. Getting it now. You said a song. Ain't gonna let nobody turn me around, turn me around, turn me around. Ain't gonna let nobody turn me around. I'm gonna keep on walking, keep on talking, marching up the freedom way. Ain't gonna let turn me around, no. Turn me around, no. Turn me around. Ain't gonna let nobody turn me around. I'm gonna keep on marching, keep on talking, marching up the freedom way. Ain't gonna let no DA turn me around, no. Turn me around, turn me around. Ain't gonna let no DA turn me around. We're gonna keep on walking, keep on talking, marching up. And Dante says, say us and not me. Ain't gonna let no system turn us around. Us, turn us around, turn us around. Ain't gonna let no system turn us around. We're gonna keep on walking, keep on talking,
marching up to freedom way.
ain't gonna let no system
Turn us around, turn us around, turn us around. Ain't gonna let no system turn us around. We're gonna keep on walking, keep on talking, marching up to freedom way.
What's your name?
I'm Ford Porter.
What do you do for the government?
I'm in the communication shop.
You are? Well, I want you to communicate that the state put this man in jail. Not just folks in Greene County, they did it in your name. They did it in your name. They did it in your name. They did it in the governor's name. and it's time for the pardon, and it's 6 more. I want you to think about that. Look at this man. This could be your brother, your husband. You know what they done to Lumbee. I'm Tuscarora. Hey, you know what they done to poor white folk. The only white folk they've been ever been exonerated were poor white folk. And sister, you know what they done to black folk. But this is about doing it to all folk. Tell the governor, they did this in his name. I want him to hear that. He's a citizen of this state. They did it in his name. He was not governor then. He could not stop it then. He can stop it now and turn it around. And there's no reason to have run for governor. Thank God for the ones he did.
Yes, sir.
But we can't celebrate that when he got 6 more plus this brother.
Yes, sir.
Right? They buried this man. They murdered him alive. His dreams, his hope. He's the resurrection because of other folk, and he's got an opportunity, but he needs a pardon. And I'm not being ugly, but I wasn't going to just hand this off to a black woman and a Lumbee. No. America needs to, North Carolina needs to understand. This is about all of us. This ain't black on black and just a black issue, a race issue. It's a race issue, it's a class issue, it's a constitutional issue, it's a religious issue, and as Daryl Atkins and I just talked, we tired, y'all. Tired of walking. And we intend to make this the #1 issue in the 22 elections because we tired, y'all. We tired. We think when when judges speak, it's over.
That's right.
That's right.
That's what I thought. Yes, sir.
Huh? We tired, but we ain't that kind of tired to quit now.
That's right.
So I'm gonna sign this. Is Dante signing yours?
We're going to get Dante and you to sign it. NAACP has signed it. Forward Justice has signed it. And then it's attached to thousands of signatures that people sign online. Yeah.
It's past time.
Past time. Past time.
Y'all see that? We are tired. Pardon now. Counselors, y'all step forward so folks know. These are the counselors, all the lawyers. If it wasn't for these folks and the Innocent Project, these the heroes
These are the signatures.
and the sheroes. Dante is our leader. Y'all hear that? We just serving. Dante's the leader.
That's right.
That's right.
That's right.
Well, it's nice to meet all of you, and thank you for all that
Dante.
you continue to. Yes, I was just coming down the line, and I know you all were with the Innocent Project.
Come on over here. You know you're going to get all that. You're going to be communicating, but we need you to communicate this.
Yes, sir.
You got every media in the
Right,
state. All right? The Lord sent you out here. It's going to haunt you. The Spirit going to grab you till you do it. I'm telling you. Hallelujah in the name of Jesus. I'll put it on you. All right? My brother, you know what we've been through.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you,
Yes,
brother.
sir.
And you have my number now. So
Let's communicate it from your heart. That's all.
Oh, yeah. Tell them I said hello. All right.
Thank you, Reverend.
All right.
Thank you,
Bless you.
Bishop.
We
Thank
need
all
that-
of you.
We need that ASAP.
Thank you.
No, thank all
Like
of you.
tomorrow.
Tomorrow Saturday.
Well, that's all right. Some of you don't work on Saturday. In fact, do pardon on Saturday so Dontae can come to church and communion with me Sunday. 2 years is longer than enough. And I don't normally cuss, but I got to cuss today. 2 years is longer than enough. All right.
Thank y'all. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank all of you.
Okay.
Come on, let's join in. Don't get too close. COVID, you know what we do.
All right. If you all would join us in a posture of prayer that's comfortable to you. Holy Creator, in your many names, we are thankful knowing that in the struggle for justice, we are promised cosmic companionship. That we come out here with one another, our comrades that you have given us, but you also come with us with the Spirit of the Almighty, that we are being pushed along in this effort. We thank you for being with Dante Sharpe over those 26 years of a funeral. We know that this is a system of death.
Yes, Lord.
It's a system of death that tries to kill people on the inside, and then when people get out, it doesn't stop.
That's right.
So today we lift up those we've lost, especially Daryl Hunt,
Yes.
who was in the system for too long and then killed by the effects of the system on the outside.
Yes.
Lord God, we thank you for the strength you gave us today.
Yes.
Continue to be with us. Guide us, push us. lead us to one another and not against one another, to lean on one another as we continue the struggle for justice. We lift up especially these attorneys and their work on this special day. Thank you for all the partners and supporters today. And we say, in your many mighty and loving names, forward together.
Not one step back.
Amen.
Amen. Amen.
Everyone, if you want to join us at Martin Street Baptist Church, there will be boxed lunches. Dante will be there. We'll do additional interviews. It's a short drive right around the corner, but we'll be at Martin Street Baptist. We have boxed lunches, and Dante will be available for more interviews.
I have so many questions for you.
Where the BBC folk?
Coming over
Right here. Can I speak?
There she go. I didn't know about it.
So we'll have to do this.
Here, Chelsea. Oh, yeah, that's what we're doing. Yeah, sorry. So they're doing regular barber here.